And we are recording.
You're alive.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to Bark Banter. I'm Skyler.
And I'm Macey.
And we are here to talk about dog trainer drama and dog training. Possibly be funny. We're not totally sure yet.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we're both very different trainers, which is why we decided to start this podcast. And yet we both get the job done. So
yeah, absolutely. I think that's one thing that is such a reason for drama in dog trainers. Since we're about to talk about drama, is because people say that I train like this, and then somebody else doesn't like that, so they say it's wrong, and then somebody else comes in and chimes in about their way of training. But if you get the job done and the dog is happy and healthy, I mean,
and the
who can say
owner is happy and healthy.
yes, and the owner is. That's I think that's the most important thing.
I would agree. Yeah. All right. So this week, have you seen any good dog trainer drama? Or as we were talking about earlier, have you been a part of any dog trainer drama lately?
I haven't been well. Okay, it wasn't really like drama necessarily. I saw today on social media, not today, sorry, shoot. I saw earlier this week on social media of a trainer that was basically hating on somebody's prices. And she was just like posting across her social media and was like, I don't charge this much. Y'all can come to me because that's ridiculous. And basically saying that like us dog trainers shouldn't charge what we charge and that she offers it cheaper so she's better. So I chimed in and I was like, hold on. I was like, one, if you are considering that you have to pay for um, equipment, if you travel to people, so you're traveling, then you have I pay for marketing, to be able to get my name out there a little bit better than just word of mouth. Um, and then just like a bunch of other different things I listed off of like things that I have to pay for. I mean, kennel techs, like if I have people, if I'm keeping a dog with me, or even like an assistant, like I have to pay for their time. Somebody to take pictures and videos while we're training out in the park. Like I still have to pay for those people's time. And if I'm only making like she was mad that somebody was charging $100 an hour. Okay, well if you charge any less than that, if I'm making $50 an hour and I'm only meeting with you for an hour out of my time once a week, and you pay for 6 classes, that's a month and a half, and I'm only getting paid. I don't math. What is math? Ah, 100, 200, 300. I'm only getting paid $300 in
Yeah.
that 6 weeks.
Yeah.
That's not cool. That's shitty. Like, how can I run a business off of that? I mean, and then like taking the time of the fact that I'm like having to travel out to them. Like, then you have like I
Yep.
live 45 minutes from everything. I live an hour away from everything. So like
Mm-hmm.
then that's a whole nother hour that I'm either not getting paid for, or I'm only making $10 an hour off of that.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, that was she tried to like, well, I'm just here to help people. I'm like, cool, do it free. Do it for free if you just want to help people. Like,
Yeah.
but if you're doing it as a business owner, don't go hating around other people's thing, But then it turned into that she was like, I'm just mad because this person was really rude to them, and she's rude to a lot of people. And I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, bedside manner. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be rude to your clients, you're gonna piss some people off. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's just not good customer service. So I could see being mad for that. And like then she was saying that the person was in training for 8 months, the dog couldn't even do a sit or a recall. I'm like, okay, cool. Now we have a shitty trainer that's not actually a trainer. She's just taking
Mm-hmm.
these people's money. But
Absolutely.
the whole first part of her
Was
rant
about
was
price.
about prices. And I was like,
Yeah.
so it wasn't really like, we weren't really like being drama with each other. It was more so I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, hold on, slow down, slow your roll, let's talk about this. And
Mm-hmm.
she just came in with like, I guess she kind of realized halfway through that I wasn't being malicious with what I was trying to say, and she was like, yeah, no,
Right.
I get that. And she gave her both or 2 points, and it chopped up to it being about another trainer that I have no idea who it is, so I don't know the drama on that.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but that was my little bit of drama for the week.
Well, good
More,
on you for ending that peacefully.
I try. I will say I do try.
Yeah.
There's always
Yeah.
something out there that people don't try to take it peacefully, and they try to bring out a rise in you, and then that's like where my temper. I'm like, ooh, you start bringing out mean words. Do I say mean words or do I be nice?
Uh-huh. And that's where I text you because I'm like, hey, Macey, I need to vent on this thing because I can't say mean things to these people because that looks unprofessional.
I need to do that to you more often.
Absolutely. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. This is what this podcast is for. So
There you go. Yep.
okay, so my drama for this week,
Yeah,
and I spent like the last 3 hours on TikTok just like looking for something for this because
Did you go down a rabbit hole?
Oh, absolutely, I did. I started following a certain trainer, and now I am getting all of his videos, and I want to like go off a cliff or something. Anyways,
we need to get our own to be able to do that. Like, you're gonna mess up your algorithm. Like, we need to just get our own little TikTok.
I already broke my algorithm, man. Like, that happened. But this guy, like, he just goes after trainers just pretty constantly. And
does he need somebody to go after him?
It's happened. It's happened. Okay. Obviously,
he
dog trainers don't take critique well, like in any way, shape, or form. But this guy, he just goes after all the people, and he picked Cesar Milan this time, which I was like, really? I was like, is Cesar Milan even relevant anymore?
My thing is, Cesar Milan's gonna be like, who are you?
Well, and is Cesar Milan even relevant anymore? No offense, Cesar, if you end up hearing this podcast, but like, are you even like relevant anymore? Are people even like paying attention?
He doesn't have any new shows out. He doesn't have.
I don't know. I don't have cable.
I don't even know if he's training anymore. Like, I don't know. Like, he has his own little school now.
Does he?
So like, yeah, he does.
I have no idea.
A lot of trainers. Okay. I looked into it. I don't know if it's still going. I looked into that so long ago. Okay. Back when I was a Cesar Milan fan. Yeah. The only dog trainer in the world that I knew. Fun fact for everybody.
That was most people, though. That was most people. Cesar Milan was the reason that people started like realizing they needed a dog trainer. Even if you don't agree with his methods, Cesar Milan is what got dog trainers into people's houses. Like, you can't.
To be honest, yeah.
You can't disagree with that. Like, now, like, his methods are not something that most people agree with anymore. But like, this guy, he's like going after Cesar Milan, and he's talking about how like Dog Daddy was influenced by Cesar Milan. Now, I have seen some of the Dog Daddy videos, and I'm sure Cesar Milan's show was, edited, but I think he had a little bit more finesse than what Dog Daddy is doing. Also, did you know that people are protesting the Dog Daddy stuff? I just thought,
can we sign up for that?
That's insane. Well, he's in California right now, so I don't think either one of us can do that. But like, yeah. People are protesting, and it's mostly dog trainers. That's super interesting. Oh, yeah, there is. I'm sure there's a change.org petition out there somewhere.
He doesn't need to touch any dogs.
He really doesn't. But so on that concept, though, like, I listened to the podcast that Ivan did with him, and he does say like, hey, I could slow things down. Hey, I could do this. Hey, I could do that. And he kind of like says that he knows that what he's doing is wrong, which almost makes it worse.
I didn't. So my thing is, I can't really listen to Ivan talk that much, just because I if it's not written out in front of me and there's like subtitles, I can't focus on his accent, which is nothing against him. I think he's a great trainer, and I really want to learn from him. But that's my biggest issue.
No, I understand.
So I haven't listened to that. But that's interesting.
Yeah, well, because you hear him, he's like, I could slow down, I could do this, I could do that. Which, like I said, I think it might make things worse because he does a one-time training session with the owners. What did I send you earlier?
I know.
Yeah. Only Christ can heal in one session.
Yes.
Like, if you get a dog trainer, it is absolutely unacceptable to only do one session with that dog trainer, unless it is a very specific issue that like you already know what you're doing and you need like a little bit of critique.
Yeah, and like, okay, like I had a client who had a 9-year-old that she couldn't get to go into the kennel. Literally, like, within one lesson, we were able to fix it just because she needed a little bit of help. Yeah. But she needed a whole lot of help on everything else. So we still did classes. But like that one instance I fixed. But the fact that Dog Daddy is like claiming to fix aggression in one,
full on aggressive dogs.
like, no, dude, you're bullying dogs until they shut down. Like,
Well, and
that's what that looks like.
Yeah, it's insane because you'll see these people and they get like interviewed on their way out and they're like, I think my dog is doing really well. It's like, no, your dog is fully shut down. Your dog is
Your dog
fully
gave up.
shut down. And yes, you can continue that for the rest of their life. And that's the life you just gave them.
Yeah. Honestly. Anyways, your rabbit hole. We got down a rabbit hole, but
we went down a rabbit hole and it's only the first episode. So I hope everybody is enjoying this. Okay. So topic for this episode is going to be engagement. Maybe we should talk a little bit about our training styles first, because I think that might actually like give everybody a little bit more about what we do. So Macey, go ahead. Tell people about your training style.
Put me on the spot, why don't you?
Yes.
Okay, so I've been training. I started my career whenever I was 17 and started being mentored and learning and picking up dogs to train with. So that was probably like what, 7 years ago? Oh my god, I'm old.
How old are you? I don't remember.
25, Skyler.
Oh my god, you're so old.
I'm getting there. Anyways, so I guess 7 years of experience with training. And I've done a lot of different things, from service dogs to hunting dogs for birds, to we learned how to do a little bit of tracking and trailing at school together.
Hold on for a second. I just want to say to everybody, like, we both have ADHD, so we are both gonna move around a lot. That's why like Macey is like spinning in her chair right now, and yes. So just in case anybody is bothered by this, it's gonna be a pretty consistent thing. Go ahead.
But yeah, so I like. And then I did a little bit of training at PetSmart, which they probably disowned me, to be honest, and we'll get down that later. That's a whole nother. They would never say I'm a trainer today. But that's a whole nother thing. Anyways, so a lot of what I do is based off of building boundaries, and a lot of it is still, building the dog's confidence up through doing obedience and showing them that they can do it and what the right answer is, but also physically telling them, no, that's the wrong answer, and giving them a clear line of communication. So I do a lot of obedience to fix dogs who have like a lot of behavioral issues or a lot of fear issues. And I mean, that's kind of how I find things like that. A lot of times we also, work with dogs that are so overstimulated and so really a lot of my clients would call them hyper, but to me, hyper is a personality trait, and you can't change that. But there is a line of
you feel like you are also hyper.
I never thought of that.
That's what it is. It's because you're like, I cannot have that bad
like,
thing
I can't
on
change
me. Yeah, absolutely. Like hyper is not. It's not a bad thing because that's what you are.
That would explain why I'm like sometimes telling my clients, hey, liven your energy up. Your dog's gonna enjoy it a little bit more if you're just like a little bit faster moving and a little bit
true.
Talking. Yeah, I mean, it is true. I mean, but like you see it sometimes with clients where they're just like the lowest, calmest energy ever, and the dog's like, you're boring. This lady's crazy, and I like her. Like,
yeah, absolutely. That's why dog trainers have so much more success than actual dog owners, because we know what dogs like.
Yeah, but we're trying to show y'all, and if we're like, my favorite one's whenever I have to tell the men, use your baby voice.
Oh my god! Bring out the squeaky voice. Squeak it. Squeak your voice up.
Oh my
Get
god,
excited.
But I mean, that's kind of how I do things. Like recently, I had a dog that had some pretty severe aggression at the door. He was just like super over frustrated and just wanted. He was a herding dog. So he learned how to use his mouth and push people out the way, and over a year it escalated to the point of him physically grabbing the arms and shaking them anytime that, I mean, we're talking like this family had like 7 different escape routes at their house because they couldn't go out the door without this dog grabbing them and pulling, and he hurt them, he created a lot of distrust with them. And I was intimidated at first. Actually, I probably called Skyler like 10 times during this whole case just because I was like, hey, what would you do in this moment?
I don't know.
And it was just it was an intimidating situation because like what was the trigger? You know, what was the
Right.
reason why? Like I thought maybe it was resource guarding at the door. I thought maybe this dog, you know, was dominant aggressive. After having him here for 2 months, he was in training with me. He came in the end of October.
Mhm.
No, sorry, end of December. Well, I'm messing all of we're in December. My bad.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um,
say the end of December hasn't even come yet. I don't know where
what
you're at.
ADHD took over. Okay, I'm thinking ahead of what I'm
Christmas
saying and coming
time.
out of my mouth. He came the end of September, and
Uh-huh.
he just went home last week.
Okay.
So give or take 2 months.
Right.
Um, and I come to find out that his issue was frustration. He just didn't know how to handle his
Sounds
frustration
about right.
levels.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of separation anxiety, but I think that might have been a little bit learned. He didn't really come like he was fine by himself. He just wanted to control the doors and if you were leaving, he wanted to control where you go, which I think that had a lot to do with genetics.
We'll do a whole episode on separation anxiety one of these days because I have
Perfect.
big thoughts on separation anxiety.
You do that. I would love to talk about that. But so the way I fixed it though was a
Yeah.
lot of obedience and a lot of boundaries. Like he
Mhm.
just wasn't allowed to do certain things anymore, and I taught him how to wait at the door. That fixed
Mhm.
a lot of issues. I taught him how to
Mhm.
go to place. That
Mhm.
fixed the issue of his parents being able to walk out the door
Right.
and the dog following them to the door.
Right.
So now we're avoiding that issue of where that frustration is.
Mhm.
We did crate training because
Mhm.
he wouldn't even go into a crate. The first day I picked him up, us trying to get him in the crate in my vehicle was a whole fiasco,
Mhm.
bro. Like it was I had to take one of the we had him double leash, and we basically had to bring one leash and run it through the kennel to string him up to get him to jump in on his own. He
Mhm.
didn't want to go in the kennel. That was
Yep.
one of his biggest things. They could never kennel train him because he would pull back and turn around and start biting them about it.
Mhm.
Um, so that was yeah. He slunk his head around. He actually he hit his eye. I was worried there for a second. He was a little bloodshot afterwards. But did a quick check over him and he was fine. I watched him for a few days to make sure he was good. He didn't really hurt himself. He just probably bruised himself to be honest. But
Right.
he was just being a bully in that moment. You
Yeah.
know, like what do you do in that moment? Because treats weren't getting him into the kennel either. Like he didn't
Yeah.
want treats.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a little. I guess you would say it was a little bit forceful, but I mean, I really just kind of waited for him to jump in.
Right. No, I mean,
Eventually he realized that I could either sit here and sling myself around and crawl and hit the doors, or I could
yeah.
just jump the kennel.
Or
I
I
was
could
like,
just
okay,
actually go where I need to go. And that's, yeah, there's going to be a lot of hate for, some of the things that we talk about. And I'm
oh for
not
sure.
worried about that because there are certain times where dogs have to do what they have to do. And that is just a part of life.
Yeah,
Like
I
you can
mean
say
this.
what you want, but in certain moments, dogs have to do what they have to do.
Yeah, I mean they're living in a human world, so I
Yes.
mean they literally have to, and they don't understand that. So like it's our job to sometimes show them that, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we brought him home and he once we brought him home, I was showing them how to do wait at the door, and he actually the whole time he was with me, he
Mm-hmm.
didn't really try to bite me. He did try to
Mm-hmm.
come up the leash like one time,
Mm-hmm.
like he grabbed the leash. I'm over trying to figure out where I'm at. Anyways,
It's
so I was
backwards.
holding the leash, and he came up and grabbed the leash, but I just kept holding it. But whenever we brought him home, his first day, I was doing their lesson with him, and I showed them how to do wait at the door, and with his mom, he actually tried to come at her,
Yeah.
and I just helped her through it, and that was
Having
the only
boundaries
time.
will make some dogs angry. That's like a legit
Yeah.
thing. Having boundaries will make some dogs angry. They will be like, this is absolutely not okay.
So in that moment, we corrected him.
Yeah.
Like in that moment, he behaved a certain way. I showed her how to correct it. We stopped it in that moment. He never tried it again.
Yeah. We're not doing that. That is not a
Something
thing
as
that you're
simple as
allowed to
that.
do.
Never once tried it again. I
Yeah.
didn't sit there and have to hold a bunch of treats. I mean, don't get me wrong. We used a lot of treats. I rewarded him, and she rewarded him
Absolutely.
when he made the right choice, which was back
Good.
up from the door, sit and wait until I say break.
Right.
So I mean, they were so ecstatic. I if you go on my reviews, you can see them, you know, singing my praises right there.
Right.
And they're still learning. You know, we're still doing some follow up lessons. That's part of the end of the program.
Yeah.
Um, but I
This dog's
mean,
not
they're
fixed. Right.
yeah.
You wouldn't say
Well,
he's fixed. He's
No.
not 100%. He's not like absolutely perfect. That's not what we're
So
throwing to.
we actually had a whole sit down conversation. I was like, look, I know you're excited about where he's at right now. I know you like to see it,
Mhm.
but there is a chance that this dog may test that old behavior again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As much as you love him and as much as he is loved, do not stop training. Do not
No.
relax one day because he's going to see that. He's going to see that behavior. He's going to see that body language. That's what they read. And
Mhm.
he's going to try to take that moment where he's going to try and snap again. And you have to be prepared to,
Right.
in that moment, correct him. And he may never do it again for another 2 years.
Yep.
But like I said, it's not, and I had to explain that to him. Like, there's not a point where dogs or like when they have bad behaviors like this like they're or aggressive behaviors, that aggression never truly goes away or fades. Like it's always going to be there to a certain extent or level, and it's just because dogs are smart.
It's
Like
also because dogs are aggressive. Like aggression is not an unusual thing in dogs. It's actually a thing that all dogs have and they all use in a way, in one way or another.
I never thought to say it like that.
It's absolutely true.
And that
All
is
dogs. All dogs have aggression. All of them.
switching this over back to my little story, but now back to Skyler. She can explain a little bit about her thoughts and how she trains. Like I said, I fix things through obedience and boundaries. Skylar, just like what she said, she puts a lot more emotion, I feel like, into it.
Yeah.
She can explain that. I'm not gonna try and take her thunder. You do
All
that.
right. So I have been training off and on for like the last 12-ish years. I specialize in dogs who are human aggressive, and I do use some obedience in my training, but generally, yes, I focus on like the emotional kind of feelings of the dog and more, I guess, like smaller things. Like I work on smaller things to get to those bigger things. I don't I don't have a dog like sit in a downstay or anything like that. I very rarely teach a place. Um there are a couple dogs I've taught place too, but it's a different thing. Recall is something I teach every single dog that I do, but that's because it's necessary for their health. And yeah, so what I do is more of like a holistic kind of training. It's a lot more, I don't know, it's got more nuance to it than kind of what Macey's talking about, which like there's nothing wrong with what Macey does by any means. It works. It does. Um I'm I don't have the ability to do a board and train, which is part of why I do what I do. So I do a thing called day training where I go to the people's house and I interact with the dog a couple days a week, and then we do a lesson at the end of that week, and that happens for about 3 to 5 weeks. And so with that, I teach the dog in very like small incremental kind of steps what we're looking for and what we're not looking for. And I make that very, very clear to the dog. Yeah. So I do something that's more or less holistic,
Mhm.
emotionally kind of body language, all of that. It's very like
Can you
dog
explain how
based.
you said earlier that you make that very clear when you don't want
Yes.
something? So what does that look like?
It depends on the dog.
Okay.
So for some dogs, it's literally just saying the word no. For some dogs, it is taking away whatever they wanted in that moment. For some dogs, it is putting them away for a little bit to let them actually like calm down and relax. For some dogs, it's an actual correction with a corrective collar of some sort or a slip leash or something like that. Yeah, mine is very like dog to dog depending on
Yeah.
what it is. I don't put any specific tools or anything on every
Mhm.
single dog that I train because all dogs are different and they all have different learning styles and learning capacities.
I'm getting a little bit more fluid with like my collars and what I use in the moment. Again, it's kind of more dog for dog. I do say that like a lot of what I do does depend on like what the dog is in for.
Mhm.
But I do find that there is a little bit more of a curriculum to what I do.
Mhm.
Like there's 7 skills that I think every dog should have. As far
Right.
as like obedience, which is and obedience meaning the way that I fix problems versus the way that like they behave in certain situations.
Mhm.
So I teach a sit, a down, a place, stay. But I do an implied stay, meaning that if I say any one of those three things, they're going to sit and stay, or they're going to down and stay, they're going to place and stay, and they're going to wait till I say break. Then I also teach a focused-ish loose leash heel. We're talking about engagement. That's probably one of the biggest things I teach engagement in. And then I teach a recall. And focus. Focus is like the biggest thing that I teach. Oh no, wait at the door. But focus is like,
do you teach focus with a command?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say I do teach focus, but I don't teach focus with a command of any sort.
I think we're a little same on that one, at least. Like talking about how differently we train. I really feel like the way that we've talked about engagement and focus together, I feel like that's probably the one that we do together at the same time.
Right. Yeah. All right. Engagement. Engagement. So let's go back and forth on this one. More or less, like, you tell me one thing you use for engagement.
I only use treats. Like, this is probably the one thing that I solely use treats for. Maybe with a more advanced dog, I might correct if they're not focused on me. But the thing is, I don't ask for focus. It's when they choose to focus to me, I make that really, really rewarding. So what I usually look for is a dog that glances up at me, and then I say yes and reward. This is also where, like, I don't know if you use markers and whatnot, but this is where I start building my marker. This is the first thing every dog learns when they come to me, is focus. Usually I'm standing still. Usually I am either holding the leash, or I am standing on the leash and keeping it fairly short. Like, not short enough to where, like, there's pressure on the dog if they choose to stand up, but short enough to where they can't, like,
wander.
They can't wander. I'm basically making it super, super boring all the way around me. They're gonna take their time, and they're gonna sniff every blade of grass around me before they're like, what am I doing here? And that's kind of what I wait for, is for them to just decide to give up, and they're like, wow, what is going on here? And all of a sudden they'll just look up and like, what are you doing? And I'm like, yes, reward. And they're like, what? And it's funny seeing them go through that whole, like, emotion of, like, I don't know what I'm doing, and then, oh, she just shoved treats in my face. Now I'm gonna sit here and stare at you. Is this what you want?
It's a whole mental gymnastics thing to watch a dog.
So, like, I that's kind of what I wait for, is just for them to look up at me, and I reward for that. That's kind of how I start building engagement. And then, there's the, movements. I also use some games. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to kind of go on to what you were saying earlier?
So I do the same thing, except for yours sounds stationary.
Yes.
Mine is moving. Yeah. So mine from the very beginning is movement. Like, we are always, like, moving or doing something. And as soon as the dog, like, engages with me, absolutely, yes, I'm gonna reward. And I do use the different markers depending on the dog and depending on the people. I feel like some people find markers really hard. So sometimes we will switch into something else for that.
So, like, yes, I'm stationary, but I'm not still.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of like what I'm doing now. Like, mainly because, so I tell this to all of my my clients. This is something that, like, I picked up when I worked at PetSmart. So dogs, again, this is also not something that I've ever actually looked into. So if I'm wrong, somebody just comment on it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Oh, like, God, don't get people started already. We don't need it.
Anyways, so I was told, and this is what I tell all my clients, is that dogs have more rods in their eyes than they do cones. We have more cones.
I've never heard that.
So the cones is what sees color, and that's why we remember color.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
That's why we highlight things to remember it. That's why, like, with children, you try to make everything colorful. It helps develop their brain. Moms, don't come at me on that. Okay, I know there's some debate on that. I'm not a mom. I am a dog mom, but I'm not a mom. Anyways, but
you don't give your dogs coloring books? No?
No. I know some dogs that paint.
Hey, me too.
Anyways, but so what I tell my clients is that movement helps them remember things. And if you are bone seal, then your dog's, one, not going to look at you, because, like, one, that's intimidating for a dog. If you're just here, that's intimidating. Like, loosen up. You know,
Yeah, I
like
feel a little
relax your
bit intimidated
shoulders.
right now.
Oh, sorry, my bad, Skyler. Uh, um, but yeah, so I mean, like, you know, have a little sway in your motion. You know, my favorite one is the this. I have some people who like cock their hips a certain way and they move. I have some people who just wiggle. You know,
Oh, it's like
um,
yoga where they like tell you to do whatever like
mhm.
movement feels good for you.
Yeah, whatever, and that's pretty much what whatever feels good to
I
you,
like
just
that.
move.
I like that a
And
lot.
typically the second that they start moving, their dogs focus.
Right.
And that's, I mean, like there is movement and there is like, but it's not, we're not just like going, you know?
Yeah.
Um, if I did that with clients, I feel like they would have a little bit harder time focusing on what they're actually doing with their dog.
Yep.
But I mean, everybody give or take, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I could be wrong about that. But I mean, that's how I teach focus and that's how I explain it to get them started is learning how to move their body to get their dog to focus on them.
Yeah.
Um, and then we go into the games that I teach.
Okay.
So once we have a dog that is like making consistent eye contact where they're looking away and they're looking back, coming back for that
Right.
reward, they're looking away, coming back for that reward, like they can disengage as they want in this.
Mm-hmm.
Then we start adding on like an arm game. So we'll take a handful of treats and we'll hold
Mm-hmm.
our arm out.
Oh,
And
okay.
what
Yeah.
you'll see is that the dog knows there's treats there. So they're
Yep.
gonna look at that and they're gonna keep staring at that. But I want them to focus on my face.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna wait till they look to me, and then I'm gonna reward with the free hand.
Right.
That they never get rewarded with this hand.
Yep.
And so what they learn is that and I describe this as the smallest distraction that you could possibly give your dog is yourself.
Okay.
So teaching a dog to ignore distractions, I'm teaching them to ignore the distraction of food in my hand
Yeah.
that they normally always target because everybody's always feeding their dog, which is not wrong, but I have had some dogs where just like all they care about, they don't even think. Like it's just food in hands and that's all they target. And
Yep.
like I have one in training right now.
Yep.
And teaching him that if I point this way with my hand for him to go to place, he's like, right here. And I'm like, no, go over there.
Yeah. Continue.
um but yeah, so I mean that is how I teach that. So we do the one arm and then we
Mm-hmm.
switch and we go the other arm and then
Mm-hmm.
we do both.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever they do both, if the
Do you
dog
spit it out?
looks no. No,
No. You
I'm
said
not
you're not
doing that.
supposed to give it with the hand that's got the treats.
Aha. So
That's why I'm
if the
asking.
dog if I have both of them out and the dog looks this way, I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
reward this hand. This hand comes down.
Okay.
And if he looks at this hand,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna reward this hand and it comes down.
Okay.
And if they aren't looking at either one and they just start looking at me, I come in with both.
Nice. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not putting treats in my mouth.
That's a thing that people do. Did you know
I
that?
know it is.
Yeah.
And you know, if I told my clients to do that, they would be like, no. And I'm like,
Pick something that's human friendly. Blueberries.
oh.
I'm just
still not
kidding.
doing that.
Don't tell people
I'm not
good
doing
things
that.
for their dogs.
My God.
That's how you get. That's how you get dogs like tonguing people in the mouth.
Oh, yeah. The last thing we need is to teach dogs that food comes from the mouth.
Right?
Like, then we get begging. Then,
Yeah.
like, every time I go to eat, dog, hello? I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
You gonna spit some of that Beck at me?
Yeah, I'm not doing that one. Not hating anybody that actually does that.
No, and
But
it
that's
works.
my concept.
It does. It works, and I don't
It
actually know
works.
that it makes your dog lick inside your mouth. I was just kidding. But yeah,
I'm
I
sure
could
it
see
does
it
work,
making
but
a
I'm not
dog.
doing it.
Like,
I can
inside
see
your
it
mouth.
creating a dog that begs every time you put food in your mouth.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then you have to fix that.
Yeah. Then you
Or,
got to start ignoring
you know,
that. Like, oh, just 'cause
right.
I'm eating.
Or even
Like,
like doing something where you have to put the dog on place every single time you eat because like
Mm.
they get too close to your mouth.
yeah,
That's a
like
whole that's sounds like a whole rabbit hole of things.
Britta does that, but only because she already does that.
It's Britta.
It's Britta. She still does that. She'll just sit there and stare.
Yeah.
Like, just hi, mom.
That's
Hi.
who
And I'm
she
like,
is.
Britta, move.
That's who she is as a dog.
I know. She's always done that since she was a puppy.
Yeah.
And I didn't help when she was younger because I thought it was cute.
Because it's
And now it's
cute.
annoying.
And that is the problem we have with most of our dogs.
Mhm.
Folks, if you think something is cute about your puppy, you should probably start
Won't be
ignoring
cute
it
later.
now.
It won't be cute
Like,
later.
legit, it doesn't matter what it is. It's probably going to drive you up a wall in about 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen the one where they taught the dog how to fight with a sword?
Yes. That looks
Imagine
painful.
One for yes, but like that's how that dog gets attention.
Absolutely.
That's how the dog plays. Imagine just watching TV and the dog whack.
Right. And like I would guess he probably doesn't just grab swords anymore. I would guess he probably grabs
Oh.
other things and smacks you with them. Like
These are people that we need
I
to have
don't
guests and be
know.
like, hey, can we ask you questions?
I
as dog
absolutely
trainers?
if people want to come up here and talk to us, like I'm here for it because I have big questions about things people teach their dogs and how you keep that from becoming like a problem.
Yeah, like, or like the people that teach their dog how to hug. And I'm
Oh
like,
my
and then they're
god.
like, can you make him stop jumping? And
That
I'm like,
guy. The guy with the hug husky where it just like attacks him now. Oh, no thank you.
oh, the one where he just jumps.
Yes.
I've seen that vaguely. So I tend to not watch dogs on TikTok or YouTube or anything.
What?
It bothers me.
Oh,
For this exact reason that we're talking about.
no.
Like, I just want to, like, I'm not, like, I can't watch dog videos anymore.
It gives you anxiety.
It gives me anxiety because I'm like,
Meanwhile,
that is
I'm over here like I
problem.
want to see all of the things. And like I enjoy the funny things and I enjoy the great things. There are certain things that like yes, make me cringe. Most of the aggression like stuff I don't believe in, like
The Rottweiler
poking your dog while they're eating or sticking your fingers in food bowls. Those kind of
reviewers are going to
terrorize
see me
me.
physically cringing.
Yeah, absolutely. But like there are certain things I can definitely be like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cute." I would never teach my dog that. Ever. There are certain
See, I
things
don't even have those
would never
moments.
teach my dogs though again because there are certain things my dogs know that I would never repeat.
High five.
Nope. No, all of my dogs know paw and they only do it on command.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
So happy for you.
Okay, but let me just say that part of that is I think certain dogs just really enjoy it and they realize that that's like gets them attention, that paw thing. But also, I go through it very quickly. Like I teach my dogs paw and other paw is what I call them, paw and other paw, and it's something we do for like a day. It's not something we like continuously work on. And then sometimes we're running through tricks and I'll be like paw, other paw, but it's not something we like reinforce heavily.
You know, I taught Leela how to paw when I was 17, no, 18.
Right.
I regret it. 6 years later, I regret it very much.
Yeah.
And I wish I never taught her how to do that.
Right.
And then I did it with Britta because, like, I was like, Border Collie, let's do all the fun things. I also, 3 years later, regret it. So
that makes sense.
But to be fair, Britta's not nearly as annoying as Leela is with it.
Okay.
Leela just, like, she just does it constantly. I don't know what I did whenever I was a teenager with her, but oh my god, that is, like, she will literally just consistently touch me. Hi.
You're just, like, being abused by your dog then.
Yeah!
Yeah.
My dog's abusing me!
Right?
Anyways, so back to how engagement. So
yes.
What do you do for engagement? So you do, like, I was wrong when I said we teach it the same way.
We do teach it the same way, but you do it. Yours is more stationary. Okay. Whereas your people are like swaying and stuff, and I'm like, let's go for a fucking walk. And like the dog checks in, good job. The dog checks in, good job. The dog checks in, good job. And like I do it while we're moving, while we're walking, while we're doing all these things.
What do you do with a dog that doesn't check in?
I've never met one.
Oh, good, because I have a lot of those that come in. Maybe it's just a thing down here. Maybe it's in the water.
No,
maybe it's the breeding.
I guess with dogs who don't like naturally, they just have that go thing. I slow down. Mm-hmm. Like I'll slow like way down. We're still walking, but I'll like slow way down, and I might change directions. I might be like, all right, now we're going this way, and like as soon as the dog makes any kind of eye contact, it's a yes and reward. Like
I do that too, but I do that for healing.
Yeah. But I do it. So, and that's the thing is I teach dogs. I almost never teach a dog an actual proper heel. I do teach dogs a really nice loose leash walk, which is actually really hard to teach a dog because it's a concept. It is not a position. And like I'll teach them like
that again. What?
So a loose leash walk is a concept. Because I teach it so that the dog can know whatever length of leash it is. So whether that's a 4-foot leash, a 6-foot leash, a 10-foot leash, a 20-foot leash, they're going to find the end of that leash and they're going to stop before that. So that's where they're going to figure out, like, that's as far as they're allowed to go and they're not going to push that boundary.
See, this is what I mean by we're totally different. If I'm teaching the loose leash heel, I'm holding the leash a certain distance away depending on how big the dog is to keep them about
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't know how to show distance on here. Anyways, about a foot away from my leg, and if they go
Yeah.
anywhere past my thigh, that
Yeah.
is a cause for me to change direction and re-engage.
Nope. Nope. I start most dogs off on an 8-foot leash, if not a 20-foot leash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I do teach like a basic like stay at my side kind of thing later on in the program, because I feel like it's necessary if you plan on taking your dog anywhere where there are actual people. You can't have them 8 feet away from you or 20 feet away or whatever. And you want them to be by your side. But yeah, I start dogs off on a long line or on an 8-foot leash and give them actually more space. And I find that it actually freaks most dogs out, because most dogs will hit that 6-foot leash, and that's where they know to pull, is right at 6 feet. So if you have an 8-foot leash, they hit 6 feet and then they hit 7 feet and then they turn around and they go, what just happened? Because dogs know distance. Like, I believe
they
this.
do, for sure.
So like if you have an 8-foot leash on a dog that's always been on a 6-foot leash, they literally will like turn around and be like, wait, I didn't hit the end of the leash. And that's when you catch it. You yes and reward right there.
Interesting. Yeah, I also think dogs can tell time.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, dogs can absolutely count. Like,
Yeah.
they know how many treats you have in your hand. They know like what times you're supposed to. They might not be able to look at a clock and tell, but they know from looking outside
And
and how they
routines.
feel. They have a biological clock. Like,
That makes sense.
I also feel like it's the whole thing with thresholds. Like, a
Yeah.
dog can count how long it has to stay on place if you've worked to that point.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I start dogs off on long lines. We do a lot of engagement work, moving. Anytime, like literally anytime that dog looks at me, they are going to get rewarded. And whether it's a treat or a toy or excitement or whatever it is, like I'm going to reward that dog and we're going to do something about it. I also, very specifically in my training, I have 3 things that we do. So we warm up, and warm up is usually like some sort of sniff, and I will let them just do what they want to do and get out whatever they need to get out. And then we will do the actual work, whatever we're trying to work on for that day. And then I have a cool down, which is actually not like super cool down. Sometimes we do zoomies depending on the dog, because they have like built up all of that like excitement. A lot of doodles do this. Like they need that zoomie like afterwards. And so we do that. And then we just like chill. We walk back home.
See, that's definitely where like I don't do that, because I feel like a lot of my clients need a certain amount of obedience with a dog being at a 10 is what I call that. We put it
Right.
on a scale. And I can definitely physically see like that dog's at a 7, that dog's at a 4, you know, see them calming down. So I find that a lot of my clients really benefit from a dog who might be like at a 10 but sits.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I do. I think teaching them how to control that arousal is very important.
So like I'll grab dogs, and as soon as I touch that dog, we're training.
Okay.
So I don't really do a warm up. Like
Yeah.
my warm up is the fact of like the second I walk into my dog room and all the dogs are going crazy because they're so excited to get out. I use that as warm up, I guess.
Well,
They
yeah,
bark and
and
bark and
like
bark,
for
and then
you, yours is a board and train. So yours is completely like different, because you do what? How many sessions in a day?
2.
2 sessions in a day.
Mhm.
So the dog gets out and they learn all of these things, and you have several times like they're being interacted with in a day, and they're getting out more than 2 times a day, right?
Yeah, so I
Like
have
the
kennel
kennel.
techs.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, so no, we do a lot of mental stimulation. So a lot of chewing in the kennel. So we do a lot of oh my god, I said a lot of the time. Oh my god.
A lot of
Anyways,
chewing in the kennel.
so we
You might
do.
want to rephrase that.
I'm about to.
A lot of chewing in the kennel.
Yes. I don't get what you. What is? Did I? What?
They want to chew on the kennel?
Oh
They chew.
no.
What do they chew on in the kennel?
Hooves and antlers is what I was trying to finish my sentence before I got tongue tied. Hooves, antlers, horns, natural things. So I do not give them toys in the kennel.
Yeah.
So they do that. We do a lot of slow bowls. We do a lot of licky mats. The kennel techs let dogs out to potty. They deep clean their kennel, and then they put the dog back. And then I'm usually taking them out for a little bit of if we're doing walking, we're teaching the dog how to heel. But they do get walks during those moments. Give or take, the dogs or I do want them out more. So we're actually working on building a actual like kennel, not in my house, like
Right.
where they have like kennel runs. And I'm trying to do like a whole dog yard, dog park looking thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're gonna have like a their kennel on the inside, about a
Mhm.
4x5. They're gonna have a doggy door where they could choose to go outside on gravel and either go potty or lay out in the sun. On the inside
Okay.
it's insulated, and AC'd. And then on extended from the 5x10 outdoor area, I
Mhm.
am hoping to do like a big yard fenced in to where like
Mhm.
I can actually have dogs out playing and playing in the water, digging, being dogs.
Yeah.
So I mean that's something that we're actually working to improve on. But as of right now, like I said, it's just between me and the kennel techs on when somebody's letting a dog out and what we're doing in those moments.
Okay.
And dogs do travel with me a lot. I know dogs travel with you a lot, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I take dogs on a lot of adventures and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we do that too. So like whenever a lot of what I'm doing is traveling with the dogs. So they might not be
Right.
in their kennel, but they're in a crate in the
Right, right.
car, and then I'm grabbing them. They have an hour out, grabbing another dog. I usually bring 2 to 3, depending on the size of the dog and how many
Mhm.
crates I can fit in the car.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
jealous of your van.
you should get one.
I'm planning on it.
I do wish it
Hopefully,
was bigger.
maybe we can make money with this podcast.
Ah. Subscribe, people, subscribe so we can get a better dog van.
Yes, and if anybody wants to sponsor us, we are here for it.
Dog truck, dog truck, dog truck.
I don't care who
Anyways,
you are. I'll say yes to everybody. It's fine.
Colin dog truck. We both. Do you use dog or mini educator?
I use mini educators.
Ah, mini educator. Come on, somebody.
Yeah, they're not going to sponsor us, I don't think. But
Dang.
you know,
But yeah.
if
So
anybody wants to sponsor us, feel free to reach out if you enjoyed this ramble of whatever it was.
whatever this is.
Yeah, whatever this is.
Was it funny? Somebody tell me. Was it funny?
Yeah, that's an actual question because we want this to be a comedy podcast.
I feel like only dog trainers would find it somewhat funny on some of the things we say.
But that's kind of where I'm going for, though.
Okay.
Is like I don't know that like dog owners are gonna listen to this. We will find out. If you're a dog owner
I
and
feel
you
like a
listen to
lot of
this, please
our
let us know.
yeah, absolutely. Comment.
I mean,
Follow.
maybe my clients and your clients might listen to it because
That's what I was thinking. Like my clients and your clients.
yeah, like they
My
might
clients are
listen to it.
constantly always still learning, and that's
Yeah,
another thing. Like not
they
trying to
should
like
be still
sell
learning.
us.
Everybody should always be still learning. That's a
Yeah.
thing that I want to put out there right now is like if you disagree with something that we say right now, feel free to like tell us about it, but also know that our views are always evolving. We are always changing the way that we're feeling and thinking and doing things.
Yeah.
And that is
I
part
did
of
not
being
train
human.
like this 4 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Neither did I. And you know what? That's part of being human. And if you disagree and you want to be a jerk, I'm sorry. I only have adult conversations with people. So if you want to have a conversation with me, I am more than welcome to have a conversation. I think Macey is the same way. But like people who are just going to be like rude and mean, like you could be rude and mean, like give us that like, give us that subscribe, give us that duet, whatever it is you're going to be doing. But
the more that you interact with it, the more
yeah,
we get out there. So
yeah, exactly. Do what you
for
need
that reason,
to do.
I might continue an argument. I am
Do
that
what
person.
you. Oh God, I am not that person. I will have an adult conversation with you, and that is it. If you don't have an adult conversation with me, then I'm not going to interact with you.
Mm-hmm. 10 minutes. Okay, finishing up on engagements.
Oh my God, I think we're done. This is 50 minutes.
Did we finish up on engagement? Like, did you finish up what you needed to say?
I felt like a decent amount. Like it should be like a beginning engagement thing. I think it's all right, plenty.
Well, then to finish this up, like I said, not trying to sell us out there, but if you are a person that is struggling with a dog, like I said, one, I do board and train.
Oh yeah, we should do that.
I can absolutely pick somebody up I can fly your dog out here if you really want like a professional to help you that actually knows what they're doing.
She's not going to fly it out there for the record. You're going to fly it out there. She's not going to pay for you to she's not going to pay for the flight.
You can pay me.
Yeah.
And I will set everything up for you. I have people that do transport dogs around. Yeah. But anyways, I am more than help. I even do like over the phone classes sometimes. More than welcome to help you out here. You can follow us, or you can follow me on Facebook or Instagram at BossDog. That's one word, BossDog, Canine Dog Training. And then Skyler can drop her information.
Yeah, and you can find me at Redemption Dog Training LLC on Facebook, Instagram. I don't have a TikTok. I think we're getting a TikTok for this. We do have an Instagram. It is at Bark Banter. And if you want to email us, it is barkbanterpodcast@gmail.com. So we're really interested to hear what people
If you
think
have any
of
dog
this.
drama,
Yeah, that too.
our way.
If you know any crazy dog drama, like drop us a note. We're here for it.
Give us all the details. I'll read it out loud. Although I might mess up on reading it.
It makes Macey anxious. Yeah. Yeah.
Skyler can read it. I can't read out loud. But but alrighty. Like I said, on that note, I think we're good to go. I think this was a pretty good first podcast.
Yeah. All right. See you later.
We need like a catchy sign off.
Yeah, we don't have one of those yet.
No.
Yeah.
Banter with us. I don't say that.
I'm stopping it now.
Bye.